This ball is crushed. Man, what a shot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to HIT.OR.DIE podcast with your hosts, Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford. If you haven't yet, head on over to YouTube or any of our other platforms and listen to episode 127 with Haley Dolcini. It was a great episode, great info.
It's a different world, man. You know?
She's just a different athlete.
Yeah.
She has a different mindset of where she wants to be, how good she wants to be. And it's kind of lost in some athletes nowadays. So it's great to listen to it. I had a lot of fun. I was listening to the episode again this morning. But yeah,
go check it out. It was definitely an excellent episode. Also go check out baseballthumbguard.com. Get you a Thumb Pro using promo code HIT.OR.DIE, 15% off, free shipping. I know they have select colors and some are running out. So definitely want to head over there, get you a Thumb Pro. Thank you to them. We're also doing the giveaway. Submit us a video, you imitating a swing. I think this is going to come out before it ends. If it does, just send us a video. We've got a few in so far, a couple pretty good ones. So yeah, we're looking to give away a Thumb Pro. Again, go check out baseballthumbguard.com. Just a couple things happening around Major League Baseball. Before we get to our guest today, go ahead and tell you guys, Marcus Walden's going to join us. Get a quick update with his situation, how he's doing. He's in Iowa right now, and so we'll chat with him in a minute. But just around the league, you had the Giants clinched a playoff spot, which I think everybody would probably call a miracle going into the season.
Yeah.
Which
hasn't been, it was the quickest in franchise history since 1912.
Is Kapler manager of the year?
Has to be.
I think so too.
Which sucks, but it has to be. I mean, you just did it.
From the situation in Philly to now being with the Giants and having.
Well, I mean, you just had the best record and fastest in franchise history with a bunch of Scribinis.
Pretty much.
I mean, even Posey didn't even play every day the whole season. And
they had some injuries too. They lost some arms and they had to.
And the captain, Brandon,
fight
he ain't
it
no
out.
Fucking captain, bro.
You think yeah, but
he's an average baseball player. In the big leagues, which I have to add because he's in the big leagues.
Well, you look at the season that Crawford's having too. Like I don't think anybody he hasn't done that. He hasn't put these numbers up before. I think he's still floating around 300 with 20 home runs, 20 plus home runs. Was All-Star, having a great year. So congrats to them. I think they're 2.5 up on the Dodgers with 3 weeks left to play. So there's still interesting. The wild card battles are going to be fun. We'll get into more of that stuff as episodes go on here in the next couple of weeks. We'll start paying more attention to Major League Baseball postseason, who's going to be fighting for wild card spots. You had some bad blood or the Subway Series over the weekend with the Yankees and the Mets. Lindor goes off on Sunday Night Baseball and initiates a little bit of heat, kind of calling out the Yankees. I guess there was some rumor that the Yankees were whistling in the dugout, tipping pitches. I don't know if that's true. I haven't heard or seen anything verifying that, but he's rounding the bases and kind of whistles, does the sign of whistling. Stanton comes out, hits a home run to tie the game. So big home run. And he's rounding second and he starts chirping with Lindor, chirping with Baez, who Baez seems to always find his way into some controversy or in the mix. And then ultimately Baez puts the Mets out front with his third home run of the game. Lindor. And Mets win that series. But I mean, what are your thoughts on some of that? Because we kind of had a difference of opinion, surprisingly.
I don't even remember what my opinion was. Now
just run that. You were talking about why didn't you just run the bases?
Yeah, I just don't care anymore about the whole. We know what's coming, blah, blah, blah. It's just, you hit a home run, you hit 3 home runs, just fucking round the bases.
What about Stanton?
Stanton did what he did only because Lindor did what he did. So he was just reacting. If Lindor did nothing, Stanton wouldn't have done anything. But it's also like Lindor did what he did. He's showing me up. He's showing my team up. I'm going to let him know about it as well. I'm not going to just let that go. Like, I get that part of it with Stanton, doing what he did. But it just never should have happened in general. You just hit a home run. You just hit your second home run. You went up. Who cares? Who cares about all the other bullcrap? I mean, if you don't know by now, it's going on everywhere. Wherever in the league that something's going on where people are trying to get an advantage. Like, we know that now. So many people have come out and said different things.
So you're putting the onus on Lindor.
Yeah, just freaking play the game. You guys are playing against New York. It's one of the biggest Subway. It's the Subway Series. It's one of the biggest series across town rivals in the history. Just play the game. I'm tired of it. It's just another look at me moment. Look at me. Look what I'm doing.
But I mean, he was, if that's true what the Yankees were doing, he was pissed. Like, so
who knows if it's true?
I understand that.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody knows it's true. Just let it go. Just let it go. Anybody could be whistling or trying to do stuff. Maybe there's something he saw the pitcher doing and he's whistling to let him know something. I mean, it could have been so many different things. If you don't have evidence, 100% evidence that what is going on, just leave it alone. Just be better, get an advantage, try to do it yourself or whatever. I mean, that's what they're doing anyways, everywhere around the league. So, I mean, I'm just tired of the this is me moment, because guess what? If that happened back in the 90s, Lindor wouldn't even have been touched home plate. There'd been a full out brawl when he was going to second base. And that's probably Ozzie Smith would have done that. I mean, there's video of Ozzie Smith.
It's like Donnie and the Ramos guy.
Yeah. I mean, Donnie's old school.
Yeah.
Donnie's old school. I'll tell you that much, just from playing for his father. And
I take it as a fan standpoint. Like, as a fan standpoint, it was entertaining. It was the most fun baseball. Not the most fun, but it was up there. Nationally televised games, Sunday night baseball, a lot of people watching, tuning in, and you see some of that adversity or drama, whatever. But what I mean? You see some chippiness. I like that. That's what I want to see as a fan.
Let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
Our guest.
Yeah, popping on is going to be Marcus Walden. So we'll talk about some of this. You got Max Scherzer hitting it to 3,000 Ks. We'll go ahead and go back and forth here with Marcus Walden. Sit tight. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the HIT.OR.DIE podcast with your host Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford, and our very own
one of our favorites.
All you minor league guys out there that think you're the badass mother effers. I text Marcus late last night and he got back to me within like 10 seconds. So you ain't shit. He's been in the big leagues. Didn't the big league me at all, one bit.
No.
Marcus Walden, thanks for joining the show again. As always, we appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been a talk about 2021.
Whoa.
Just go ahead and fucking just fire away. I want to know, like, obviously I would assume you weren't expecting with what happened with the Red Sox to happen.
No,
Can you just kind of get into that process? And
yeah,
I don't think anybody
because not many people get the
that.
insight on how that shit really goes down.
Yeah.
No. All right. So all right. Do you want me to even go through like what I was doing as my year, like leading into it, or even just like how it all happened?
Either way, whatever you want.
All right. So either way, I go to the alternate site. I end up getting DFA this year in February, right when camp started with the Red Sox, which was I was kind of thrown back from that also. Didn't really know what was going to happen. I thought I was going to get claimed by a team. Bad time to get DFA'd. Any time is a bad time to get DFA'd, let's be honest. So I end up clearing waivers. I signed with the Red Sox. I signed my big league split. I go to AAA, their alternate site, the whole thing. I had a pretty good April and May. My June was not very good. I was just walking too many guys, trying to pitch around guys, being nervous. Had an unbelievable July. I think I had like a 1.1 ERA in July. Had probably 12, 14 innings, I believe. I don't know. Something around there. August 6th, I think it was August 6th or August 8th. I end up throwing Friday night, throw 3 innings against the Yankees team, their AAA team. The next day they come in. I end up right after the game, just manager calls me in the office, and I go, well, this isn't very good. I know I'm not going up. There hasn't been any injuries in the big leagues. So he calls me in the office. He says, hey, shitty part about this job, we got to, the organization wants to see some younger guys pitch in AAA. We're going to have to release you. Okay. Like, you got any questions? Not really. You guys aren't going to have the answers for my questions anyways. Like, the only question is, like, what can I do different? They're not making that call. That's coming from the top, which is fine. They want to see some younger guys in AAA. They got some guys in AA they wanted to see. And it's all, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all a business. They're moving guys to where they got to see if they got to protect them next year. Like Darvin Feltman, one of our big prospects from, I think, 17 or 18 draft. Guys like that, they want to see in AAA and or protect them so they can't get big league Rule 5 or minor league Rule 5, so on and so forth. So I ended up getting released by the Red Sox. Had no clue. I kind of got bamboozled into it. I had 3 guys that night go, hey, so you're going to the big leagues? Actually, the opposite. I'm going home. They're like, what? How? They didn't. One of my best friends, Brazier, who's in the big leagues now with him, he was there rehabbing with us. And he's like, hell yeah, you're going to the big leagues. He's like, what? There's like 7 guys I'd rather pick here to get released than you. So it is what it is. And I had a lot of guys reach out to me, which is good because I've been released when I was younger. You don't really get that unless you've kind of had an impact on guys' lives or their careers or been around the game for a while. So in that aspect, I thought it was really good that I had a lot of guys reach out, including like Gus Quattlebaum, one of our head scouts with the Red Sox, guys like that. So get released. I still have my family with me. I have my wife and my 3 kids. We're in Massachusetts. We don't know what to do. They were going to fly home in a week. So I just said, hey, let's drive to Florida. Let's drive to the house. We can go set up camp and reset our suitcases. We can kind of figure it all out. So we end up driving down to Florida. I get a call from the Cubs, and this is where to me, this is where the whole 2020, 2021 thing all comes into play. First question the Cubs ask, hey, have you taken the vaccine? Well, my answer is no. And they were like, all right, well, we'll have to give you a call in 2 or 3 days. The Yankees call. First question, have you taken the vaccine? No, I'm not. I don't really plan on taking it. That's not really what I just want to play baseball, do my thing. So 2 days, 3 days later, nobody calls. I'm driving home. I'm not really thinking much of it. I talked to my agent. The Cubs end up calling again, and the Cubs and the Red Sox are 2 of, I think there's 6 or 7 teams that are not at the 85% threshold. So the Cubs are one of them. And I'm like, I should have a job with them. Should be pretty. They traded away everybody with the last week and a half, pretty much right at the trade deadline. They traded away 4 relievers and released 2 of them. So 6 of the 7 guys that started in the big leagues are out. Now they got a whole bunch of AAA guys up there. So they end up calling me back. I signed with the Cubs. I think it was like I agreed on a Sunday, flew to Arizona, had to do all my testing. I had MRI on my elbow, MRI on my shoulder, make sure I'm healthy. The whole time they wouldn't let me play catch or go into the facility because you got to take tests and you got to get cleared and all of this stuff. So I went from August 8th until August 20, I think it was August 21st without throwing a baseball. Didn't throw a baseball one time. When I was traveling, flying to Arizona, I was in Arizona. I cleared my physical, talked to the doctors, flew up to, where did I go? St. Paul, Minneapolis, and St. Paul area. Stayed there for 3 days while I was getting tested and had to pretty much quarantine in the hotel the whole time. I think I took 5 tests, cleared all 5. 3 days later, got to get onto the field and play catch for the first time. So going, I think I was 15 days total. I went without throwing a baseball, which was kind of tough. Played catch for 2 days and right back on the saddle, get it going with the Cubs. We were in St. Paul for a week, and so now we've kind of figured it out and filtered my way through that team and kind of keep it going and go strong for the next 3 weeks.
That's a lot.
Kind of a short rundown of what I think 5 weeks happened.
That's crazy.
Quick little rundown of it.
I was over at DIB. I think it was right before you signed with the Cubs. And I was talking to some of the DIB guys like Trent Ailes and Senaway.
Yep.
We were hitting with some of the city guys. And when they said it was Cubs and Yankees, I was like, I mean, the Yankees would be cool just to be able to say you played for that organization. But like you said, with the Cubs cleaning house.
Oh, yeah.
And you know as well as we do, age is a factor.
Huge factor,
that was,
obviously.
I was excited when I heard it was the Cubs because I was like, dude, I think that's the best opportunity to get back up to the show.
Definitely.
And I'm sure that was a factor in your decision as well.
Definitely. I mean, the Yankees offered me more money. They were right there. I could have just turned around and drove up probably 5 hours and been right where their AAA team was. And they were going through a big COVID issue at the same time. They were calling guys up left and right with some injuries. But then again, I just played their whole AAA team. I know exactly what they got in the bullpen, and I know what their organization is. I think they have 7 guys under the age of 25 or 26 that throw 95 and harder. That's going to be a hard organization to crack in with. As in the Cubs kind of had the same issue with COVID, but also traded away everybody. So I kind of like the atmosphere. The Cubs have also tried to sign me since I was a minor league free agent, which was 2014 was my first free agent year. So they've been trying to sign me since then. I've just always kind of signed back with the Red Sox or signed back with the Blue Jays when I did. So being able to get like a little 6-week, 8-week tryout with the Cubs and hopefully fall in and like the organization, get called up at the end of the year, which is still my goal, and try to go to camp with them next year in 2022, go to camp with them and try to make a team out of camp.
That was my next question. Is that something that looks like it could happen? He's going to camp next year with them?
I mean, so that's where at the end goal is I would have to get called up at the end of this year, which could be the last 6 days or 7 days, whatever it is. Then they would own my rights walking into next year. I'm still pre-ARB, and I still have one more option left to be on the 40-man. So I can get called up, go to camp with them next year. Say if I don't make the team, I can go to AAA with them, and I'd still have one more option year with whatever big league team I sign with.
So I'm just going to ask,
Go ahead.
Around the league, since you're in the know, how much pushback, how many guys aren't getting that vaccine? Like how many guys, for whatever reason, like, do you hear that a lot around that? Because I know teams are mandating that.
So what happened is when you're in the 40-man roster or you go to big league camp and you're part of these big league meetings, the owners know they can't really push around big league baseball players. Our union's too strong, things like that. So we have a lot of backing on that side, where I think they kind of convinced a lot of people with not having to miss time with getting the vaccine, or if COVID tracing and contract tracing and all that stuff that we're still doing, wearing a mask, all that stuff is kind of where they got a lot of guys to agree to get this shot in baseball. Now in the minor leagues, every guy that I've talked to pretty much said they had a Zoom meeting and they forced / highly advised getting this vaccine, because if they don't have it, it's going to be hard to get to AAA. Because once you get to AAA, that's where your numbers as one conglomerate, if you're above 85%, the big league team and the AAA team, they act as one unit in essence, being able to do whatever protocols that they're with. Now, the 2 teams that I've been with are the Red Sox and the Cubs. Neither one of them are at that 85% threshold. So we kind of have more rules, a little bit stricter rules. Just like we were in Indianapolis last week, our clubhouse can only have 16 guys in it. The rest of the guys have to be down the hallway, spread out in metal lockers, like we're playing high school baseball, in my opinion. It's so like just small little things like that kind of irritate me and kind of piss me off a little bit, honestly. There are the things that we got to deal with on teams that don't have that 85% threshold in AAA or in the big league level.
That's just crazy. It's just, at what point is it okay to have your own decision, make your own decision? That's just what the hard part is.
Correct. And that's where I'm kind of curious on how is it going to be harder to get a job next year as a 33-year-old walking in without the shot. We'll see. I'm willing to take that. I'm going to see how that goes. If that means I'm done playing baseball at the age of 33 after playing for 15 years because I didn't take a shot, not for any other reason, I guess that's my time to get out the game, I guess. I don't see that happening. I kind of see they're not going to make everybody take it. I know some of the best players in the game. I'm not going to name them just because people kind of get rattled about it. But I know a lot of guys with the Red Sox. I know a couple with the Yankees. I know some guys with the Cubs. Teams that I've been with, I know who has and hasn't taken it. And I think people would be surprised on who has it, who doesn't have it. Their reasons are, if it's personal, if it's medical, if it's, just their life choices. I think we should all have our own choice on what we're going to do. That's just my opinion.
It seems like they're testing the waters a little bit with the college game or the college students. I just read, and I forget what school, was it Navy, where the coach was fired. He didn't, his religious exemption did not get approved, and he refused to take it, and he was let go from the coaching staff.
Yeah. I do think there's going to be some class action lawsuits going to pop up from that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I'm going to weather the storm. If that means I got to wait it out, I'll wait it out a little bit. If I got to go play in Mexico next year, I'll go play in Mexico.
Yeah, it pays well.
It doesn't pay bad, I'll tell you that.
No, not at all.
They do all right. I'm more curious on seeing how Asia is going to play with Taiwan, Korea, Japan. How are they going to do with, I know they didn't really get into the whole shots until a couple months after, especially America did it. I'm kind of curious to see. I got one of my good friends over there. One of my former roommates is in Japan playing right now. And so I want to talk to him and see how that's going. Their biggest issue right now is that they couldn't have their family come and visit. So his fiance has been in America this whole time, and he's been in Japan the last 7 months, 6 months, whatever it's been. So, even guys like Justin Smoke was out in Japan, and they wouldn't let his family out. So he ended up coming home, and just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, that's crazy. We just found out at City that I think either October 14th, they're making the decision if you play a sport, you have to. Like they talked about it being like you have to. And we already know that there's guys on our team that aren't going to take it, and there's guys and it's like you're trying to tell a kid, like, I know they're adults, but let's be honest. We all play.
They're kids.
They're kids. You're trying to tell them that their future of playing baseball, the game that they love, or football, whatever sport it may be,
whatever it is
resting in the hands of one decision to take a shot or not. Like, I just feel
correct.
Like that's wrong. You're risking the futures of this young generation that already has a sense of entitlement and aren't as tough as I feel like we were, but that's just because we were in a different era. We're always going to believe that no matter what.
Yeah.
But it still isn't right that we're trying to take away their future in a sense.
Correct. We're trying to push something on them so they could have the thought process, the freedom that they thought they had 2 years ago. Think about the kids that were juniors in high school when this all started, and their junior year got bangoed. Their senior year got shut down early. Now they're going to go to Fresno City or Reedley College or COS, any of these JUCOs, because they haven't really got to play. They've played 25 games over the last 2 seasons, as opposed to playing 60 or 70 or 80 games with the fall. And now they're going to go to a JUCO, and now they're going to get mandated, forced, whatever way you want to say it, into something that they don't truly believe in. As a young 19-year-old kid, is probably pretty healthy, I would assume. Just taking a wild stab at it. Being outside a lot, running around, probably a healthy kid. And now, who knows? Coming from a guy that I thought I was going to get in the fire academy at 18 years old. I played 1 year at Fresno City. 16 years later, I got a couple years in the big leagues and still trying to play this game. Who knows if that could be any of those kids from Sinaway to Owls to any of the kid that just walked on that said, hey, I could throw a baseball 88, 90. Who knows that he might be playing this game 20 years later, depending on what his situation is and how hard he wants to work and what kind of drive he has to play the game. But now who knows if he'll get that chance, depending on what kind of choices he gets asked to make.
Mhm.
Now, I'm all in on, if you're going to have, if I don't want to take the vaccine, that's fine. I got no problem taking tests. We get tested 3 times a week. Obviously our tests they're a little bit easier. We walk right in the clubhouse, take a test. We'll find out in the next 24 hours or 36 hours, whatever it is. When we travel, we do take nasal PCR tests. So we're getting tested all the time. And I'm okay with that. Like if that's what the answer is to not getting a shot, okay. But I think for some people it's a little harder to get those tests and go through the drive-through and do all that kind of stuff. We don't have to deal with that in professional baseball. So I don't necessarily can talk to, like, I don't know if a college kid has to go and does he have to go to the local COVID testing spot to get a test once a
No, we
week?
have,
I don't know.
so we have on campus testing for the athletes. So
Is it a nasal swab or a spit test?
it's a nasal swab. And I think it's on Mondays and Wednesdays from 12 to 2. So it's during that lunchtime.
Okay.
Which, at City, you're going to be at the field at that time. It's in that parking lot right by the baseball field. So they make it available for them. So, and that's
exactly.
And the school
if it's available,
it, so
the school is.
Yeah, so they don't have to pay for it, no insurance, anything. You just go up. I'm in baseball. You write your name and you go get it done. I had to do it last year as a coach. We did them once a week.
Yeah,
so.
Which is, I think, is fine. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Like, do we need to keep testing healthy people? No, but if that's what you want me to do, okay, I got no problem with it. But obviously, this year we've had especially in baseball, we were testing everybody. You're going to pop up with some positive tests, and you can get into a serious situation like the Red Sox did this year, and the Yankees got into 2 of them this year. There's been a couple teams. The Nationals were one of the first ones. But I remember, when the Nationals got it, we kind of thought, well, this is going to be a tough year. They had 9 guys in one day get it. Pretty much, they were flying on the plane. They got off the plane. Everybody was positive. That we're all hanging out in the backside of the plane from the rumors I heard from the clubhouse. Guys that like to hang out together and play a little cards, it seemed like. And they came out with, I think it was 8 or 9 positives, Kyle Schwarber being one of them, who's now with the Red Sox. But it's been a wild year I thought 2021 was going to be a little bit different than 2020. It is in AAA, but in the big leagues, it's the same thing. You're still dealing with all the rules. I got plenty of my friends, teammates that were getting fined for not abiding by the protocols, anywhere between $1,000 a day to $2,500 a day. I think one of my good friends, he's been around. He was with the Reds for a little bit. I think he's now with the Mets. I want to say he's got to be getting close to $25,000 to $30,000 in fines for not abiding by the MLB protocol rules that they want him to, abide by. But
even though he hasn't have a positive test,
hasn't been sick once, hasn't had a positive test, but it's got to be at least 30,000. The last piece of paper I saw was he had a fine for 2,500 for a 1-day offense. And
that's crazy.
No, it's
whatever they can do to
thing
make
we got to
money.
deal with. And that's what, that's what, I don't even know where that money goes, because it doesn't go to the MLB. They write it to a donation to somebody, but I got no clue where it goes. I haven't had to deal with that yet. So you kind of learn from the experience, and I haven't had to experience it yet. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I just am sitting here and I'm trying to think of what to say. I really am. I struggle to find, because I got the vaccine. My beliefs on all that stuff doesn't matter. But I see with my kids, right? I just see a lot of things that no questions anybody can answer, right? My daughter sits they've got them in groups of 5 in their class.
Mm-hmm.
She eats lunch with 2 of the girls that she sits with in class. Now, in class, she wears a mask all day long. But at recess and at lunchtime, she doesn't wear a mask, and she eats lunch and plays with those same girls. And I've asked, and nobody can answer. Well, why? Why is that? Why is that necessary? Why in the classroom all day long They're limited to the groups they hang out with, and then when they go at recess or lunch, they can take the mask off because they're outside. Nobody can answer any of the questions.
Like, does the virus die in the heat? No, it doesn't. Like, supposedly, we don't
like,
nobody even knows, really.
You know, like I get that this is your job. You work for an organization.
Yeah.
But when I hear people say like, fuck your freedom, when you hear Schwarzenegger out there saying, forget about your freedoms, or you hear Howard Stern say it, I mean, that makes me mad.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it and you think about what's going on around the world, like that's the one thing we got. That's the one thing that everybody's chasing. And some people just take it for granted. They don't even realize it. Mm-hmm. They don't realize how special that it is to have that.
Obviously, I've spent a couple of years playing winter ball. I've been in Venezuela for 2 years. I was in Dominican for a year. When you leave the country, it opens your eyes a little bit. You start appreciating what we do got. And the way we live our life in America. I mean, especially in California, it's a little bit bigger than a lot of other places. But being in Venezuela, right when the Bolivre, the dollar there, went to a crumble, so when I walked into Venezuela, it was 800 Bolivres to $1 US. Later on that year when I left, it was at, we'll call it 1,500 to 1. So it doubled. When I got back the next year, which was right after Thanksgiving, it was at 3,500 to 1. Me and Sean Halton were there together that year. That in the next year, I saw him, and it was at almost 5,000 to 1 before I left. That next day, they told all the Venezuelan civilians to put their money in the bank, so cash was no good anymore. I just watched a video last night. It's now at, I think they said 1.4 million Bolivres to $1 US. So it went from 800 to 1 in 2016 to now it's 1.4 million, and it's probably higher now. 1.4 million to 1, 5.5 years later.
It's incredible.
And I mean, it's incredible to watch what these people are going through, even then. To now, there's no way they're surviving and working the same jobs, getting paid the same in Bolivres as they were 5 years ago. It's outrageous.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago with Tanner. He's going to Cal Poly. They haven't forced it, but it's kind of like if you don't, you can't get on campus, you can't get into the facility, the weight room, so on and so forth. So they're not forcing it, but they're forcing it, right? And I got a message from somebody saying, hey, you guys kind of got a little political for the first time. And I'm thinking, well, what is it really political though? Because you're a Major League Baseball player and you're being told that you have to do it.
Yeah, highly advising it.
The same thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
What's political
you
about
have to take it or you can't play.
You're an athlete.
Which legally they can't tell you to do that.
How are athletics and politics intertwined?
And that's why it's highly advised and not mandated. They've kept the word force or mandate out of their mouth really well.
But what happens now with what they're saying mandate wise, considering I'm sure there's more than 100 employees that work for the Chicago Cubs, for the Boston Red Sox.
I don't know how that works because we work for the Chicago Cubs, but we're based out of Iowa. So I don't know if they necessarily count that I work for the Chicago Cubs or the Iowa Cubs. The Iowa Cubs only has 28 players and 4 trainers and a couple coaches on it. So how does that count? Does that count as 48 people?
Well, does your check come from the Chicago Cubs?
I would assume that's
the check comes from Chicago.
Yeah.
But who you're based around, and that's what I'm saying, like,
yeah.
But just like if you work for Costco and you're working outside in the gas section and there's only 6 people that work there, how does that play compared to being inside and being whatever?
Yeah.
A little different. You're still based with Costco, but we know that you're outside, which is healthier and less people. So how, and that's where it's going to be a bunch of gray lines everywhere. I don't like it. I just wish we can
live
get
our
back
life.
to, yeah. I mean, if
you're scared of it, then be precautious. If you feel like you're willing to take the risk, then take the risk.
Yeah, there's no need to come at people though. Like you see people get come at pretty hard,
and that's not political. You either do or you don't.
You just believe what you believe, right? That's fine.
I mean, it's the same thing. You're just talking about Costco. I hate it. We have to wear our masks because the company mandated it. Actually, we have to be employed at Costco, but I don't. I work in the produce cold box. So I have a partner that works outside in the produce. So it's me and him in one area, but we are rarely 6 feet together. And we're kind of just in our own area. And I have to wear my mask, which I don't. I put it on if I see a manager coming, I'll throw it on. But then we go to the break room, which is a 20 by 20 foot room. And there's
indoor room,
15 to 20 of us in the vicinity of, we're all pretty much 20 feet apart, everybody with no mask on.
Yeah.
It's just like what you're saying with Sammy and eating lunch and she's around the same kids outside.
It just does. I just want some answers. Like, can you explain the logic? That's all I want.
It makes no sense.
Just want the logic behind it. You're educators. Educate me.
Yeah.
That's all. Just let me know what's going on. We'll shift gears real quick because we could go all day on this and probably lose a lot of listeners, I bet.
We just run in circles. We don't want to do it.
Well, I think
I don't want to run.
I think we're all on the same page. Yeah, that's a good, in early in the season, you had some issues with the baseball pitchers.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've had right before the season start, we had Tyson Perez come on and he was just like, I don't know how guys don't use something. Like I've thrown the ball and it's super slick.
And he didn't even use the big league ball. He used
the AAA ball.
The difference between the minor league and the big league ball,
right? When
AAA was different.
Exactly. And that's what he was saying. He said he only used the new ball a handful of times. And we've yet to talk to a pitcher, I think, about what's going, like you're as close as it gets to the big leagues and using those baseballs. What's your take? And is it cheat? Like people are calling out, Cole and these other guys for cheating. Like, is it cheating? What is it?
So I don't believe it's cheating, but I do believe that there is some stuff that you can get out there that I've personally never had. Now I've used stuff for 6 years, 7 years. I make my own concoction. I use it. It's whatever. We make it ourselves and kind of what we like and kind of get the feel of how sticky or like how slick you want it to be, I guess you can say. Now I've never used the stuff called spider tack that everybody's talking about. That is literally the Ferrari of sticky nonsense. Like it is. I had my buddy, he's our video analytical guy with the Red Sox. He was out there just farting around one day. He goes, let's see what this is. So he's spinning fastballs at 1800, which is not very good, but he's just warming up, throwing at 74 miles an hour, a little lefty, throwing 1800 RPMs. He gets spider tack on his hand and he's like, all right, let's see how it is. He throws 3 fastballs at 2500 RPMs at 75, 76 miles an hour. So is it going to increase your velocity? No. Is it going to increase your RPMs? Hell yeah. Now, what you saw early in the season, this is where things are going to get a little hairy. Now, especially now that September's here. What you saw early in the season was guys not getting used to it, have no clue where the ball is going. It was starting to warm up. So now guys start getting a little bit more tack with rosin and sweat. They also tried to take away sunscreen and rosin. Well, the sunscreen that a lot of baseball players used just got taken off the shelves in every department store everywhere for whatever the sunscreen issue was that came out, whatever that was, about a month ago, right. I would assume 3 weeks ago. So guys are having a little bit more stick now that they're sweating, they're getting a little bit more rosin, so on and so forth. Now that it's getting cold again, you get up in the Boston area, end of September, you get in Colorado, even in Oakland, San Francisco, where it's a little dry, little windy, guys aren't going to have any kind of grip again. And it's going to be hard to throw baseballs at max effort like everybody does. And I still believe that there's going to be a lot of fastballs up and into righties, arm side and high, in these last 2 to 3 weeks that they're not going to appreciate I don't think the hitters are going to appreciate. But just like the cheating side of it, now I can't think of the guy's name. I was watching a game last night. Guy's got batting gloves, pine tar, tiger stick all over his bat, throws his bat. His shit still slipped out of his hand. So what does he do? He gets back in the box, or, gets his bat back, puts more tiger stick on it, more pine tar on it, making sure that he could swing as hard as he can without letting go of the bat. I truly believe the pine tar on your bat is very similar to the pine tar that I want for the baseball. That's my opinion. Chad, when was the last time you swung without batting gloves on a wood bat without pine tar or sticky or spray rosin for that matter?
Well,
you ever?
When you did
playing wise, because coaching wise, I did it last year because I didn't have any option. But playing wise, never. If I didn't wear batting gloves because I was in a slump and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna not wear batting gloves.
Changing it up. Yeah.
I still had pine tar or sticky spray, and a lot of people don't know that hitters. There's a lot of the black bats out there, or the darker bats. They put pine tar on their hands. That's another reason they put it on their barrel, and that is actually creates backspin. So when the ball hits, the sticky will stick. And talk about the RPMs. It's going to get more RPMs with the backspin and help it carry. So I'm with you. I don't think it's cheating. It's been around forever. People have always done anything. A lot of guys need it for control issues, especially nowadays with how guys, they throw so damn hard and don't know where it's going. Me as a hitter, I would actually rather you be able to know where you're throwing it. And if it's going to take sticky tack or rosin or even pine tar or whatever, I'm okay with that because the shit moves anyways. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But does it move the same?
Now,
because control, yes, but when you're trying to throw a slider and you have one of the nastiest sliders out there, does it help that slider?
So I'm going to say yes. You have to say yes. Now, at what percentage? The stuff that I use, I don't know, 10%, 15%. Now, I've never, and I could say it, swear, I've never in my life put spider tack on and even tried. That's like the holy grail of sticky stuff that a lot of guys, I don't know anybody personally that put spider tack in their glove and used it in the game. I know some guys that farted around with it in the bullpen and it was like, damn, that's nasty. But nobody I know personally that I know of put that stuff in there. Now, 80% of guys were using pine tar. 100% of guys are using sunscreen or rosin, things like that. But I don't personally believe, like me getting pine tar on my fingers to have some consistency and like my issue is if my hands get dry and windy and like they're almost like they almost become slick. There's no humidity.
Leather on leather.
Yeah, and that's why, I lick my fingers every pitch. I still use rosin like crazy, but it's that's the only way I can really control pitches. But obviously, I'm a sinker cutter guy with a slider. The only pitch that you would be like, oh, you need it is a slider. And that's where, but you get guys like, for right now, the only guy that I truly know is like Garrett Richards. He was spinning the ball at 3,000 RPMs before all this stuff happened. I think he's down 300 or 400 RPMs, but it took him a little while to get used to it. But now he's back to where he was. He's been having a good second half of the season out of the bullpen from the games that I've been watching. But it's just like getting in a new vehicle. It's going to take you a little while. If you're driving a little Honda Miata, a little tiny little car, and then you get into a big old truck or vice versa, it's going to take you a little bit to get used to it. And I think guys are starting to get used to it. I'm really surprised that it's actually lasted this long on checking guys and them trying to really get the whole sticky situation out of the game of baseball. I kind of thought after the first day when Scherzer threw his stuff at him, pulled his pants down, freaking Jesse Chavez did the same thing. I kind of thought they were going to, Romo, that's who it was. Romo did it. Lance Lynn throwing his belt at the umpire, shit like that. I kind of thought that it was kind of going to be like, all right, we're done with this. But I've kind of kept it going, and I'm curious to see how the playoffs are going to be. I think playoffs are going to be cold, especially if it's in the Northeast, and guys are going to figure it out pretty fast. They don't have quite the control they had last year. What I really want to see is I want them to go to the Japanese Bowl.
Yeah, we talked about
So
that.
that's what I've heard. That I actually heard a lot of guys talk about. There were stories about the ball they used in the Olympics, which might have been the same ball.
Yeah,
it's an NPB
well,
ball.
it's in Japan. Yeah, and Casey McGee talked about it too on our episode.
That was, by the way, that was one of my favorite episodes. That was sick. He's the man.
Dude, he is.
What's crazy? Well, all right, this is how small world shit happens. I'm in Indianapolis. On the way to Indy, I listen to the podcast. We got a 7-hour ride. I kind of saved my podcast for that day for those long bus rides. I get into Indy the next day, and this guy has old broken bats from years upon years upon years. I'm taking a leak, and he's got all these bats like on a bat rack above the urinals, and he's got them all over the clubhouse, the cafeteria. Casey McGee freaking bat. As I'm in the urinal, I'm like, this is awesome. Just like small world. And then there'll be like 7 other guys that I played with that have bats up there. And I don't know if I'm getting that old or this guy's been doing it for that long. I'm like, golly, they got some.
We'll just say both.
Some big leaguers. Yeah, we're gonna say both. I mean, 15 years is a while.
Yeah.
But they it was just
that bat would have come up missing. There'd have been a spot missing on the bathroom.
Hey, I know this guy.
Shit, he's got exactly. I got everybody's. But, I mean, he's probably had 200 hanging up.
Wow. I know you got we're pressed for time, but I also wanted to, with all the stuff they've done, have you seen what they've talked about as far as pace of play change? Are the games really that much shorter to where what they've done has worked?
Not at all.
Did AAA have a different rule? Did they have any rule changes this year?
So we experimented with the bigger bag. There we go. We experimented with the bigger base, like bigger bags. That sucked. That was terrible.
Also,
it was just weird. Like, I don't know. It was just really weird covering first base, knowing that the base is like 18 inches wide instead of 14 or whatever it is. It was just, it's a big bag. Baseball hits them. I don't think it really changed the way guys are stealing bases, or it didn't save any collisions at first base. I think we did it for like 6 weeks, and they shut it down. Other than that, we don't have any other rules. AAA's been running a pitch clock for the last 4 or 5 years that the big leagues just won't get into. That's not going to change because this is what we do. So nobody on, nobody out. You throw a pitch, you have 15 seconds to come set for the next pitch. If it's a foul ball, you have 20 seconds. Guys on base, you have 20 seconds with no action on the play. But let's say you got a guy on second base and you're getting your sign and there's 4 seconds left on the clock. All you do is step off the rubber. You step off the rubber, put your foot back on, the clock resets. It doesn't matter.
If I'm a clock operator, I'm probably getting a little.
You're going off.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you're getting your sign and you shake no, and you're doing whatever third sign. They go through their 8 different signs. The third one's a sinker in, and I go no. The clock's at 3. So instead of getting my sign and coming set, I just step off, take a breath. The hitter steps out of the box. He takes a breath. He redoes his batting gloves and his toes like Nomar Garcia-Parra for 18 seconds, gets back in the box, and then we're right back at the same situation. So the clockwise, no, nothing's really sped up the game. I mean, when I was with the Red Sox, every game was 3 hours and 20 minutes, and we were starting games at 7:30 last year, which was a nightmare. We were getting home at midnight almost every day. Most games here in AAA, we had a quick one the other day at 2:40, but that's just the way baseball is.
You either like baseball or you don't like baseball. That's what it comes down to.
Again, I've said it a million times.
You either go to a game knowing, hey, I'm probably going to be here for at least 2.5 to 3 hours.
How many games have you been to this year? Or well, probably not many. Have you gone any?
For what?
Just to go as with the family, fans?
No, none. Zero. I honestly, Mark,
It's
it is
hard.
hard to
What I'm
watch
saying-
baseball.
What I'm saying is,
No,
this-
it's just hard to watch baseball with how the players are playing the game this day and age.
It's a little different.
that aside, what I'm saying is like how much can families afford to even go, right? So what they're going,
Well, they got to
knowing
pay these $400 million salaries.
they know they're going for 3.5 hours roughly.
Yeah.
And in some cases, if I'm 3 hours away from San Francisco and I get some extra baseball, free baseball, I'm soaking it up.
Mhm.
I don't care about the length of the game.
Yeah, it's not an issue.
And go
I just
ask
want
a
it to be a
kid
good
how much they
baseball
watch
game.
the baseball anyways. They don't watch.
Yeah.
So they're
No.
they're trying to influence or get a certain age group involved in the game, and most kids
You
just
know what
don't.
I was wondering? Has either one of you guys went and saw the Grizzlies play this year?
Yes.
What do you got? What did
Well, they're
you?
good. For some reason, Fresno always has.
They are good.
Bro,
Yeah.
they're unbelievable. Like, I haven't looked up their record yet, but I know it's obviously it's going to be a little different ball game with them being
A-ball.
low A.
Yeah.
No, I
But-
you know the one thing that's different is the umpire situation, right? There was only two. I did see a check swing called from behind the mound by the base umpire, which really drove me nuts. But honestly, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
It's still professional
I
baseball.
think.
And the crowd was good,
Well,
good sized
yeah.
crowd. Like the tickets were
Okay.
reasonable. I mean, it was
What
You
are
know,
tickets? $8?
it was something like that. Yeah.
That's
it was
what
something
they
like
should
that.
be.
And they still do theme
I mean-
nights. So
Yeah, but I feel like if I'm a family of four, I should be able to go watch the Grizzlies and get out of there with $50 or $60 and not have an issue, you know. And that's where I think getting into AAA baseball and low A, high A baseball, things like that, is where you're going to see some good baseball at a reasonable price for the most part. If they're not going to go watch Fresno State,
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to find it.
well, plus those
they were
guys
more-
are
they
trying.
were-
They're trying to get to the big leagues. They're
Yeah.
almost playing harder. And I'm not taking anything away from the big league guys. You've been there. I mean, they don't run out to their positions all the time after the inning or.
there's
Uh,
a few and far between. But when you see it, you'll never see it on TV.
No.
That's the issue. And you got to be locked in to see who does that kind of stuff in the big leagues.
Mhm.
And that's where when you start playing with guys and understanding what's going on, you kind of see where they're coming from. But then again, they got to run out like Verdugo's playing left field in Fenway. Bro, that's a lot of runs.
Mhm.
You're talking about going out there just to left field at home 720 times each way. That's 80 home games, 9 innings. Bro, you're killing it.
Mhm.
That's 120, 130 yard dash. Getting out to left field, you got 9 there, 9 back. Shit, you might need to hit, or you just ran first to third. So obviously not everybody runs out to their position like you get taught in high school. You got 6 seconds or less, or whatever rule Pat Ware wants to run on us. If you don't do it, you got foul pulls and shit. Yeah, you're not going to see that kind of hustle.
Those
But-
tickets for the Grizzlies were pushing, I think it was like $20.
A piece?
What?
Yeah, it was like 20
A piece for a low A game?
Yeah.
You can go to an Oakland A's game for cheaper than that.
And I don't know if it was a
Then you gotta,
thing.
but then you got to go to Oakland. That's the issue. I'm not. going
And
to
and then you had to pay for the parking pass too, which was I think $20.
Well, the worst thing
That's-
Fresno ever did was put that stadium where it's at. That's the one issue. Nobody
see,
there's
but
no
then you
parking.
get in.
Nobody wants to
Yeah.
drive down there. There's nothing cool
But
going
just like, so Worcester, Mass, I got to play in a brand new stadium in Worcester for the Red Sox AAA team. Sick. Just like Fresno, they put it right downtown. The only difference is they grabbed another $10 million and they put it in the surrounding area. And they're putting in a parking garage. They're putting in these restaurants. They're putting in all this other stuff that is going to actually change what's really going on, as opposed to just putting in a stadium and hoping other individuals will put businesses there. The city's doing it themselves. And it's going to, I think that whole area is going to be really cool in a year or two. But yeah, I wish Fresno would have done, they tried for a little bit, but you just can't get.
I mean,
downtown
100
Fresno out of
yards from
downtown
the
area.
parking lot is the worst homeless area in Fresno. Just
Or in
100 yards
California.
from the parking lot. Yeah, maybe in California.
And now there's road construction. It was a little challenging, but
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. if guys
it's
have
never
went.
kept me from going there to watch games.
Yeah. That is a little pricey though for a low. $20 a ticket.
But again, we've only gone, I think, one or two.
Well, that's why.
And well, yeah, I mean, but we also, the kids love going, so we pick and choose when we go. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. As a fan, you're going for that experience. I don't care about the length of the game. I've always disagreed with that thought process of how it goes. I don't know.
I mean, my biggest thing is I just want it to be a good game. But even just like if I'm watching games on TV and the game's just not a good game, somebody's getting beat on 8-0, I'll just change the channel. I don't need to watch a bad baseball game.
Yeah.
But you get a good game on, and yeah, I'll watch it. I've been watching a lot of the West Coast teams now that they're playing really good, and I got free nights, and it's been kind of cool to come in from the game, and West Coast teams are in the third or fourth inning, and I kind of get to watch their back end of that game and see their relievers and see how they're doing it.
See the Giants clinch with a bunch of Scribinis.
Bunch of Scribinis, dude. I don't get it. I don't even know who's on that team, but
best
they're winning.
record ever in the franchise history since 1912, and the fastest to do it. That's crazy.
That's awesome. That's crazy. And I mean, the only guy that I know is having a hell of a year is Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's some other guys that are doing good, that are, Belt's hitting pretty well. Posey's hitting 295, 298, whatever it is. But I mean, Crawford is just killing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool to watch. And I mean, think about his path he was a Fresno Grizzly. He was a low A or high A guy, get called up to the big leagues. 12 years later, he's one of the better hitters in the game right now too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool to watch for a middle infielder like him.
Yeah.
Hey, when you get back to town, we're going to have to get some spider tack and test this.
Let's try it.
We'll head over to DIB. We'll head over to DIB,
get the video out.
Get all of it out.
I have all of it. I have my Rapsodo. I have a Edgertronics camera. Bro, we got $10,000 in electrical stuff right there that we can kind of see it all. I'm kind of interested to see, have a couple guys that are ready to throw and kind of test out and see what really is going on between being bare knuckled and even the concoction that I make to Pelican grip to even using that spider tack or whatever it is. I think it'd be a cool experiment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah, we can get you, maybe Brink, maybe I don't know, some of these pro guys, and
But you even college guys, I know you guys are practicing right now in inter squad. Like you got guys that are ready to throw. That's who I'd want.
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
But dude, there's organizations 2 years ago that you walked into camp, it was, hey, here's a lineup of 8-10 things. You got to pick which one you like before you leave this place. And you're going to use it all year. So it's not like these teams and owners and people didn't know what the hell was going on. People knew what the hell was going on. Yeah. It's the public didn't know. And then the reporters wanted to blow it out of the water. And that's kind of where we're at now, is it's still getting blown out of the water. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it, but I think
it's just funny. All the people that never played the game make big deals about stuff that they know nothing about to change something they never did.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
And those are the same people that vote on the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's where, do you want to know if you got a ball coming in, do you want the guy to have an extra inch of bite on his slider and know that it's going to break, or is it going to back up on him and heading right to your face? The guy that's voting on that hasn't stood in that box and got, Giancarlo Stanton in the face. Or, I mean, there's been a lot of guys that got hit in the head this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of guys, and it's not a fun thing to do, especially pitching. And hell, I don't even want to know what it'd be like hitting in that situation. But pitching, doing that, it's not very fun either. So they, when people give you a resource to use and know where you're throwing it, you kind of take it. It's been ever since 2015, I've had something, even if it's sunscreen and rosin, which I started using in 2011. But you use what you got.
I agree.
So I think the solution they'll look at here is adjusting that ball, maybe, and using that ball overseas. That's what I keep hearing.
That's kind of what everybody's saying. The guys that have been in Japan, Even their rosin bags are better. I've used a Japanese rosin bag and it gets sticky. So that's where I'm like, they figured it out over there with the way they make their baseballs with a pre-rub on them. And as opposed to MLB, they're pearl white, and then we rub the Mississippi mud on it, and it kind of gives a little bit of tack. But if that dries out, that mud dries out, it's slicker than anything else. It's just like any other piece of mud. You got to keep it moist and give it some feel to it. If it gets dried out, kind of just nothing to it.
Yeah, Casey mentioned that ball when he played over there. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're also getting a new ball, you know.
Almost every other pitch.
How many other you get a new ball? You probably get 2 balls per at bat, it seems like.
Here's one that nobody talks about while we're on this nonsense. How come umpires don't change out their baseball bag on the side of their pocket? Chad, you've been out there when it's 100 degrees and you're sweating your ass off. You know that bag is wet as shit.
Yeah.
That they keep all those baseball, bro. They'll throw them out to you and there's water dripping off the baseball. I had 2 of them the other day. It was 84 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It wasn't even hot. And it's freaking, I mean, guys are just sweating through their little side bags. That's a lot of sweat. You're going through your briefs, your pants, and the side bag on the outside of that. That's a lot of sweat. But you'll get baseballs that are just soaking wet. And it's all right. I'll throw this one.
I never even thought of that.
I haven't either. That's crazy.
But also I'm a position player, so I would never have known that even.
But point proven, if you didn't do
I'm
it,
not telling the umpire, no, let me throw the ball out to the pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. But just like if you didn't do it, you wouldn't know it. Just like I've never stood in the box with a guy throwing hard from the right side. Never. The only guy I faced that was good was Wilson, and he shoved it. So no, it's been just small things like that where just everything can affect the game if you let it, or if you manage it and you take care of it and you kind of play by your own rules, you can kind of figure it out. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Let everybody do what they want to do, and they're either going to compete or they're not going to compete. Well, in the game of baseball, at least, they'll figure it out.
I hear that.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to anyway. So unless you're
going out there and competing, that was one of my favorite things Sale ever said in one of our meetings was, I'm over all the nonsense of the video work and this, that, and the other. He goes, you want to know what I want? It's 7:05. I stamp on the mound. You grab a bat and a helmet. Let's see who's better tonight. Let's not worry about the video work or this, that, and the other. Or, he's using this or no. It's me versus you right now. Let's go. And that was one of the better things that I've heard in one of our players union meetings with Sale standing up there and preaching to the choir. But
short and sweet.
Exactly. That's exactly how he is. He's just right to the point, and you either like it or you get out. It don't matter.
Yeah, ultimately you could do all that. You can watch all you want and talk all you want and read all you want. It comes down to some guy, on a mound chucking a ball and a guy in the box gonna swing or tag, or that's ultimately what it comes down to. So,
100%.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you.
He's on his way out to the ballpark.
I'm literally on my way out. I already missed the first bus 30 minutes late.
At least you're not driving like Luplo was.
Hey, how about Loop though, man? Good for him.
Yeah,
guys. Good for him. My mates, I was like, bro, how does Loop keep doing it? And they were like, rakes lefties. That night hits a homer off a lefty. I'm like, I love it. He just keeps doing it.
Yep.
Well, go get it.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, we're starting to lose you a little bit, Marcus. We'll let you go. Okay. Hey, finish these next 3 weeks out good and strong, and hopefully we'll see you in the big leagues at the end of the year. And
enjoy the vacay with the fam, and then when you get back, hit us up, dude. I got to go get me a Gorillas baseball hat anyway.
For sure. We'll be over there. I'll holler at you guys when I get back in town.
All right, Marcus. Thanks.
Love that guy.
Love it.
Definitely one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. Dude, he pays attention to all the little things, dude. He really does. Mm-hmm. Every time we talk, even when we're not recording, just having conversation, he just notices the little things, which is why he's been able to play this game for such a long time at a professional level.
Yeah. I can't wait for him to get back. I mean, hopefully he gets to the big leagues.
Yes,
We're all
yes,
hoping for
yes,
that. Pulling
100%.
for him. But I think that experiment would be freaking awesome to try to do.
Agreed.
When he gets back.
No, all for it. I love that guy, man. Getting fun to talk to. Again, go to Thumb Pro, baseballthumbguard.com. Get you 15% off, promo code HIT.OR.DIE. Again, submit your video for the Thumb Pro giveaway. We've got some HIT.OR.DIE gear we're going to start giving away in the next week or so. Got some new hats coming out. I've been getting hounded about a store. It'll be ready very soon. Stay tuned for that. But again,
we were only supposed to be on there for 10 minutes with him.
Yeah.
It was a full episode.
Yeah, he missed he was like, yeah, he had so much time and he just said, screw the bus. I'm just gonna
I'll make the next one.
Yeah. So no, we appreciate that, man. That's pretty cool. You don't get to talk to big leaguers every day and guys that have that inside info. We're always gonna take that and soak it in. And as much as they want to talk, we're gonna talk. So we thank him for that. He doesn't have to do that. And it means a lot to us, no question about it. So as the next few weeks pick up, we will definitely keep our eye on the baseball scene, especially in the big leagues, wild card stuff, divisions. So stay with us. Some more guests coming. We keep flying on here with the HIT.OR.DIE podcast. That's episode 128. Again, thanks to Marcus Walden. And that's it. HIT.OR.DIE.
HIT.OR.DIE.